The second way that we may be keeping ourselves in cycles through our self image is lack of self assessment. There was a time, there was a place, there was a season, a long season, a couple of seasons, where I really felt, mm, I'll say animosity. I will say animosity. I felt quite a bit of animosity towards other human beings for the way that they were behaving, or the activities that they were participating in, or the stuff that they thought was right or wrong or whatever. Um, and as I went through my self development work, I realized that 100% of the time, 100% of the time, situations that you are upset by are caused by you. And let me break that down. We all have the power, the authority to choose to be where we are, to choose the thoughts that we're thinking, to choose the actions that we're taking. Um, and if you find yourself, like I found myself, being so disgruntled by the world because of what they're doing, I challenge you, like I challenge myself, to do some self assessment, some real deep self assessment. Um, because for me, I realized that I, again, was putting myself in those spaces. You feel me? I was making those decisions. I was seeing myself as someone who um, was being victimized. Um, I'll say it that way. Um, Someone who was being put against these situations, but really I was putting myself against them. You feel me? I was walking up to them and like, I don't like this. How many of us do that? How many of us are doing that? And when you take that visual, just hilarious to me. But when you take the time in the moment, the opportunity to assess yourself and say, oh, I am putting my face against here. I have been spending my time in these places. I have been spending my time with these people. I have been making these decisions. It gives you the authority and the awareness of how you see yourself and how you want to be in the world. So, assess yourself. If you find that you are consistently in spaces that you don't enjoy, that your relationships are problematic, that your work is unsatisfying, assess yourself. Knowledge is the key. You feel me? And self knowledge is foundational, it's transformational. And when you do assess yourself, when you do begin to build that rapport with yourself of looking at where you really truly are, um, and trusting yourself to do that and open yourself up to you, give yourself grace in both places. In the person who's doing the assessment and the person who's being assessed, give yourself grace in both of these places, because um, when you are doing a self assessment, uh, you have to give, you have to have standards. You feel me? There has to be a certain line that you're looking to reach, right? But it may not be the line, the standard that is like where you're really like planning to be in the future. You can only see yourself maybe 3 steps ahead or 5 steps ahead. um, you can only see yourself being removed from the places that you are, um, and not really see where you want to be. You're just assessing yourself and saying, hey, these are some places or some people the things that I need to be releasing. So give yourself grace in that. If you don't know exactly where you want to like fully go, you're only able to see where you would like to grow out of. That's okay. Give yourself grace. Just begin to do that assessment. And on the side of the person who is being assessed, be kind to yourself. Yes, you are in these spaces. Yes, you are doing these different work opportunities. Yes, you're around these different people. And those are choices that you made, right? But those are choices that you made before you became conscious of your ability to assess and shift and grow. So give yourself grace because you just didn't know. You didn't know, even if you sort of kind of did, because we know intuitively when things aren't of our best standard, where um, things are not exactly where we want them to be, but we compromise, we allow people to step over our boundaries. Misako and Vela and the founder of Black Girl Magic, um, Shadea, I believe that's her name. They had a beautiful conversation about betrayal and how that is stemmed from the self betrayal that we exercise when we allow people to step over our boundaries, when we allow people to put us in situations and not advocate for ourselves to say, hey, I don't really want to be here. I don't really want to do this. We have that self betrayal first before we allow other people to betray us. So the seeds get started. And when you get to a point where you say, hey, I'm growing, I'm moving, I'm healing, um, look at yourself with grace and know, like, okay, I did have that seed of self betrayal before I allowed myself to be betrayed by others. And that's okay. That happens. I am choosing to make a different decision now. I am shifting my image. I am someone who is true to myself, who respects myself, who loves myself. I have clear boundaries. I communicate them clearly. I advocate for myself, right? And you assess and you see where you can grow and where you can develop. And give yourself grace, again, on all of those, in both of those areas. In any way that you're choosing to assess yourself financially, um, emotionally, spiritually, you feel me? Like energetically, however you're assessing yourself, give yourself grace. Excuse me. But if you're not assessing yourself, that might be somewhere where you're getting stuck in cycles. You feel me? Is there something that keeps coming up, a situation that keeps presenting itself again, and you're just like, I hate it here? Assess yourself and see why you're there. Okay?